Hi, my name's Marissa. This is Mkissa Creations here on YouTube, and I am also Mkissa Creations over on Instagram. This is a floss tube video. It is a little corner of YouTube that we like to reserve for our flossy endeavors, so cross stitch, but a lot of people do mix other crafts in on their floss tube videos, and I sometimes do as well. Today is going to be all cross stitch because it is time for my mid-year WIP parade. We are midway through July, and so it is time to get down to it. I've had quite a few new subscribers, so welcome, and I thought that this would be a great opportunity to show you all of my projects that may or may not pop up throughout the year. I am trying to work on all of my projects this year, at least touch them one time and make sure that I'm still into them. So we shall see. There's a couple that are kind of on the chopping block, so we'll talk about those. And then I also just wanted to tell you a little bit about myself. I do find that WIP parades bring in new viewers, first-time viewers, and so welcome if you are new, and thank you for coming back if you are returning. A little bit about myself. My name is Marissa, like I said. I live in southern coastal Maine, about 3 miles from the ocean. I live with my husband and our 2 daughters. They are currently 8 and 9. I will refer to them as my youngest and my oldest. I try to keep most of their personal lives as far as who they are off of the internet. I will tell you little bits and pieces about them. They are fun little girls. We have a great time. We are beach people. My girls are very active. I will share my oldest, because I shared about her last time. She broke her arm on the first official day of summer, and she got her cast off this week, so she has a removable cast now, but she is very excited because she gets to go back to beach fun and pool fun for the summer. So that was a very exciting day for her. And I do want to apologize a little bit. It is very steamy here in Maine at this time of year, and my AC is running. I actually filmed my intro without it running before, and it was not gonna happen. So I figured rather than kind of surprise you with it in the middle of a WIP parade, I would just start you off with it. So it's gonna have that white noise background today. I guess this is where the lavalier mic comes in rather than the one that's mounted on my camera, but I chose the camera mount, so here we are. Perhaps a lavalier microphone is in my future for days like today. But so I have been stitching since 2015. I picked up cross stitch because my oldest was just getting past that phase of napping all the time when she was a newborn. And I am a quilter. And I was finding that I could not get enough done to warrant the full take out and put back of my quilting projects without getting kind of frustrated. And it's not fair to be frustrated at a baby because they are interrupting your quilting time, but I needed a crafty outlet, and so I found that I could pick up and put down cross stitch much easier than I could pick up and put down quilting. And so I started with the frosted pumpkins. My very first project was the frosted pumpkins stitch along, what was it called? Pumpkin Passport. On it, it says let's go on an adventure. That's now hanging in the girls' room. It is framed and on the wall. It finally got finished. It languished in my WIP pile for quite a few years. It did not, it was not a quick finish and not a quick stitch, and I did not keep up with the stitch along. It was the first of many stitch alongs that I will not keep up with, but I enjoyed the stitch very much, and it just led into this wonderful hobby and this world of floss tube, and I'm just really happy to be here. So today is our WIP parade. My WIP parade. I am going to show you where projects are at, whether or not I've stitched on them this year. Some of them I know, some of them I don't know if I have or not. All of them, if they weren't started this year, will have a progress picture that I took right after I filmed my WIP parade from the beginning of this year. So you will see where I started the year at. So some pieces may not show anything different. Some pieces have been significantly different from where I started from, and that just means I worked on them a little bit more. I will share, if I do know that I have made goals for certain pieces, I will talk to you about them if they are involved in any sort of like project, sal, or like stitch along. I will mention that, and probably the people that I'm stitching with, and or if they were involved in a start along. I feel like mostly it's start alongs these days. Because I am not a monogamous stitcher, things don't stay in stitch along mode. They usually just have been started together, and then I will work on them as they happen. So I am going to go in chronological order, and I will show you. So I keep a log. This is how the log book looks at the beginning of the year. I have this list. It has been going since 2019, I believe. So I have a list that I've started each year. I rewrite it each year. So I only transfer over things that have not been finished yet. And then I kind of transfer over this little data table in the top. So I started this year with 2 WIPs from 2017, 4 from 2018, 4 from 2019, 6 from 2020, 1 from 2021, 1 from 2023, and 12 from 2024. I have so far this year finished 3 WIPs, and they were all from 2024. So let's get started. I will keep referring to this because it has all my start dates in it. And I also will put below, as long as it all fits the information that I put in each of my videos on all my projects, I have a running list. It usually has what fabric I am stitching on in case I forget, and sometimes color modifications that I've made if I'm stitching with called for, or if I'm stitching with like a Silks For You, it will have the silk number on there. So yeah, all that information is down below for you. I will try to get most of it in where I can. And I'll try to show you, I have cover photos for mostly everything, I think, except for one Haid, but I'll just stick that in before I show you my before picture. Okay, I stitch, I have 2 full coverage pieces. The rest are, they range in size from small to large. I do like big projects. I have a BAP problem, big awesome projects, or there's another A word that you can substitute in there, but I think that they're all pretty awesome, and I really do like stitching them. They just do take a long time, and because I don't sit down and just get it all done. All right, now that I've said let's get started, I think probably 3 times, let's get started. My very first stitch, and this one is on the chopping block, is it's called Midnight Ride. It is from a Just Cross Stitch Halloween issue 2014, and it is this stitch right here. And who is this by? Needle Bling Designs. The model is stitched on Echo linen from Picture This Plus. I dyed my own linen, and I worked on this last year but not this year, but I will show you where it's at. So this is again, this is a piece of 32 count linen dyed by me. It is dyed with pearl gray, blue, and purple, I believe. Again, this was long ago. This was started 5/6/2017. This is one of my 2 2017 projects that's left. I do like how it's looking. We are going to come to a conclusion when I pull it out next, and I will probably pull it out this fall. I don't see it coming out before then unless there's some like summer Halloween. I guess there is like summerween stuff going on right now, but I'm like in Christmas and July mode. I am using Mosale Sunflower as the window fabric and the what will be the moon. That moon is intimidating, and I think that's what's kind of like making me be like, this one might just not be a thing anymore. I don't know. It's I like it though, and I like the fabric. I mean, I definitely could salvage the fabric, but we'll see. All right, next, you've seen a lot this year. It is Shores of Hot Grown Hollow by Carriage House Samplings. This has become my Precipitation Day project. I did that last year with my oldest WIP. This is obviously my second oldest WIP, but it's something that I am more inclined to stitch all year long, which we get precipitation all year long here in Maine. And so really I could have been stitching on this almost every day so far. We're getting some sort of weird rain because the dew point is so ridiculously high. It's just, everything is, it'll just randomly rain and thunder and lightning in the middle of the day right now. So Carriage House Samplings, Shores of Hot Grown Hollow. And I will stick a picture in of where I started the year on this one because I feel like I've been chugging along quite nicely. This is being stitched on Picture This Plus Doubloon. And as I can recall, I didn't leave a lot of top space, so this one's always kind of hard to hold up. As I recall, I still finished this first block this year. So I've completed the whole second block, and now I am working on the third block right here. 40 count Picture This Plus Doubloon. I am stitching with the mostly called for DMCs. I will say, so this block right here has like a little tiny border next to the black border that is like supposed to be water to make it underwater without making it full coverage, which thank you for not making that block full coverage just because it was supposed to be underwater. But it's called for a different DMC than this, but it's called for the same needlepoint silk that it's charted in. So I actually just substituted the correct, or the same DMC that this water is and this water is for the water on this one. So just kind of keep your eye open if you're stitching on that chart and kind of watch the DMC conversions. Sometimes for Carriage House Samplings, they're like a little bit off. Sometimes they substitute two different needlepoint silks with the same DMC also. So I always try to kind of look at that as well and see if there's something that like maybe will cross over. But this will continue to stay out throughout the year. I do hope to finish at least 2 more blocks. We're halfway through the year. I finished what would be the equivalent of a block and a half. So I would like to get all the way across to that 4th block and have that completed by the end of the year this year, and then I will continue to keep it as my Precipitation Day project, and perhaps a snowy winter will help guide me along. I started that October 18th, 2017. So now we get to move into a new year, new start. This was my new year, new start, 2018, so 1/1/18 is its start. This is Sleeping Princess from Mirabillia. This is sort of your Princess in the Pea style princess. She's got a lot of beautiful mattresses. I recently added this to a scroll frame so that I could stitch the cry neck without worrying about it getting squished or like broken up. It lives in a pillowcase. It is being stitched on hand-dyed fabrics by Steph in Moana, and this is where I'm at. And I have worked on this year. I pulled it out for May, and I actually got a lot done. So I will put where I was at over here. But I got a lot of cry neck put in, and I got all the way down to the bottom of the mattresses. I still need to finish her like bed sheets right here. But I'm kind of close to finishing, like getting closer to finishing like one side of the whole pattern. So getting excited about that. This fabric is gorgeous. I love how this project looks on it. I really do enjoy this project, especially it's a lot of blocky color. I feel like I really love the way my needle pushes through on this fabric as well. It is a 32 count lugana, and I don't have any other projects on 32 count lugana, so maybe I'm just not used to that glory. I don't know. It just feels right when I'm stitching on it. I really enjoy the way that the needle pulls through that. The next piece I started on January 17th, 2018. This is Dreidel Dreidel from Ink Circles. And if you watch my channel, you have seen this one lately because I am working on this as part of Christmas in July with my other Christmas patterns. So this is just my, I guess I'm having winter holiday in July. We celebrate both holidays in our house, so it encompasses both holidays here. And I will post a picture of where I was. And here's where I'm at. And my goal is to finish this by the end of July. And I am chugging along. Just took it out today to show it to you, but this is how it's looking. I am stitching this with Gentle Arts Cornflower. It was an older couple of skeins that I had. I really do love how they are looking. Somebody asked me if I was stitching 1x at a time, and there are sections where I am, but if it's like 3x because of the variegation, there are sections where I've like go back and forth and it's like 3 to 5 stitches at a time, depending on the way the line works and the stitching moves, because of the way the mandala is. So yes and no is the answer to that, and I still think the variegation is coming out really nicely. There are parts that seem just so dark when you have it up close to your face, but then I think really like once you pull it back a little bit, I feel like everything just really flows well together. That's a pretty good representation of it. Sorry, the lighting changes a lot on my camera as it focuses. Oh my gosh, even with the air conditioner, like it's right there and I'm still toasty. All right, number 5 we are on. All creatures great and small. Thus begins my love of giant projects. Although I guess, nope, it began at number 2 with Hawk Run Hollow. I've finished stuff, but so the big ones last longer on the WIP list, right? So next is All Creatures Great and Small. This is Barbara Anna. I started this September 22nd, 2018. This is what that project looks like. And I have not picked this one up yet this year, but I feel that it is coming. I actually almost, if I wasn't doing Christmas in July, this one was going to get picked up, but it has not yet. I did work on it last year quite a bit and got a good chunk done, so I feel like you can feel progress in this one pretty quickly. I love all the little animals. I really want to finish out that pig, but I do. My goal is to get to the bottom corner of this one. All right, next is my Snug as a Bug. This is from Clouds Factory. It is a pattern for a pillowcase, although they display it in a frame. I actually think I am going to make it into a pillowcase. And I have not worked on this yet this year, but I did work on it last year. And here's where it's at. We've got a moth and a beetle completed. And then there's this back stitch, and the back stitch is supposed to be like one color darker than your fabric. So it's supposed to just kind of highlight, sort of. And not be like a standout. I guess that kind of is what highlight means. I don't know, it's like a low light, I guess. I really enjoy that pattern. It is on, I believe this is 32 count. It might be 28. It is a really lovely linen to stitch on. I don't know what it is. It was gifted to me in a like grab bag gift box that I got. But I am stitching it 2/2, and it just has amazing coverage, which is why I think it's 32 count and not 28. But the stitches just look fantastic on it, and it's one of those, it's a very even linen and not slubby, and it's lovely. I kind of wish I knew what it was. All right, that I started 11/6/2018, and that was my last 2018 pattern that is hanging around. So we're going to move to 2019. I have 4 from 2019. No. Yes. 4. All right, the first one is one that has been on the chopping block, but I did pick it up last year and got some more stitches into it, and I am happy with that. It is from Country Cottage Needleworks. It is Be Thankful. And last year I did get motivated because I decided I'm not gonna stitch these like swirly doos at the top and the bottom, and I'm just gonna stitch this center thing. And I think my friend Hillary did the same on hers. And that made me really like it a whole lot more and want to stitch it. And so I have two pumpkins. Oops. Right here. This is on 40 count, I think like Espresso. And I got my two little white and beige pumpkins, and I shall add more to it. That one, I will probably pick it up seasonally, which is what I did last year, and it felt good to stitch it in the season last year. All right, and another big one. Next on August 2nd, 2019, I started with a lot of people, some of whom are very close to being done or are already done. A peacock, a unicorn, a badger. There we go. I saw someone's last weekend when I got together with some stitchers, and they were stitching it on green, so they weren't stitching the background, which it was lovely and made me have some second thoughts. I believe we started this for Heather, the Imperfectly Perfect Stitcher's birthday, because this this needle minder that's on here, Imperfectly Perfect Heather made. They were making needle minders for a while. I don't think they've been making them lately, but this is where this is at. It has not been stitched on yet this year. It is on a 25 count, and you know, I really am considering doing that switch to green because I should be stitching this on a linen. This water in the bottom is, here's a better picture of it, is satin stitched, and I don't know how that's gonna go on the 25 count. I feel like I should like kind of test it, because I keep saying, oh, that's a problem for future Marissa, but if it doesn't work, I mean, I guess I could stitch the piece without the water and like stop it here. Actually, I think that's what I'm gonna do, because the water and like what's in the water is not as like thrilling to me, and I feel like if I cut that off, it's like, this feels more tapestry-y to me than it does with that. I don't know why. I think it's just, it's too light, and I like the darkness of this. All right, well I think that made that decision. So here we are. And the colors in this are gorgeous. I have done a lot of upside down stitching on this project because of how large it is and the corner that I'm in and the lots of little stitches, but I really am enjoying it, and it's so pretty. All right, so we got to get back to that. We got to get back to all of them. Like I said, there's not a lot that are on the chopping block. I think it actually is probably just that very first piece, but we'll see. All right, next from 2019 is my Christmas list from Silver Creek Samplers. I am going to put some stitches into this one this month. I have not quite gotten to that yet, but I am. It is part of my Christmas in July plans. And this is on Picture This Plus Ren, 32 count. And here's where it's at. I love this. I love the little car with the Christmas tree on top. I am stitching it mostly with the DMCs, although I did, I have like a dark green fancy floss that I had pulled, and so I have been using that for the dark green in the pattern. And I don't know if I will mix any other fancy flosses in. We shall see. All right, and the last one from 2019, this one has gotten progress on it this year because I am stitching it also for Christmas in July, is Yuletide Shanty from Plum Street Samplers. It is a drum, and then on the bottom of the drum it has these little words, and on the drum side it has this giant whale. So I have finished the last of the snowflakes. I am currently working on the moon, and then I will almost be done with the top. So that is where this is at. I filled in this flag, I stitched all these little snowflakes and this big one right here on Sunday, and we'll keep going. So you can see the difference between where I was in this one. All right, and then we are going to reset the camera for 2020. Okay, 2020 started with a new year, new start, and it is a project that I have worked on this year. It is Night Walk Down by the Blue Flower. This is the pattern. This is what she looks like. I am considering not stitching the border. I have not fully decided on that yet, but it is a bit fiddly, and it is stitched with like a lot of colors that are like almost the same, and I'm not sure that it needs it. So here is where I am, and I'll put a picture of where I was. She's beautiful. I really, really like this pattern. I will probably pick this one up again this year, and I will pick it up. I believe I picked it up on the 1st. It was part of my like, I need to touch my new year, new starts, because I have 3 new, let's just see if it's just 3. Nope, 4, 5. So now I have 5 new year, new starts on my WIP list. So that's number 3 that we're at. So I really, especially at the beginning of each year, I'm trying to motivate myself to pick up those new year, new start pieces that I started, to really like reinvigorate them and be like, this is it's their WIP birthday, they deserve some attention. All right, then we have another large piece. I started this 3/25/2020 right after it came out at market. It's Heartstring Sampleries, Consider the Lilies. And I have worked on this year. So I will show you where this is at, where this was at, and then I will show you what I worked on, and then I will show you as a whole. So I worked on this area right here. I had the bottom of the berry basket done, I believe. Finished the berry basket, finished these little motifs here, and got some motifs done up in here. So let me open this one up for you. Again, I will put the picture in of where it was, and then we will see if I can show this to you all at the same time. This is being stitched on a piece of linen that is about 37 count, I believe. 1/2. And I'm getting close. So I've got about, I would say, 1/4 of it left, maybe a little bit more. Maybe 1/3. Oh, it's so pretty. This is it's a synthetic. It's not cotton or linen. I found it at the Goodwill in Topsom, Maine, which is near my friend's house. And I guess, I don't know if I should tell where my friends live. That's probably not for me to say. Sorry. I've probably done that in the past. But I got this. I got like, I think 2 or 3 like yards, and it was like regular fabric yardage wise. I think it was like 2 yards of like regular fabric yardage, where it's like folded in half and then cut on the yard, versus like when you buy a fat quarter of, well, I guess a fat quarter, It's kind of the same as a quilting fat quarter. Anyways, I feel like it feels a little bit different. This is just different. It's not typical cross stitch fabric, but it is it's an even weave. I don't really know what it may have existed for and why it was at the thrift store, but I love it. I'm stitching it with the called for fancy flosses, and yeah, it is a pattern that seems very large, but when you sit down to stitch on it, you can really accomplish a lot fairly quickly because each motif gives you that little zing of a finish, and then it fills up a little bit of space, and then you kind of move to the next space and you start filling that in. And so I find that I can like put my Q-snap on and like fill the whole Q-snap in a couple of days with little motifs. So if I really like sat down and did it, that one is a goal to finish by the end of the year. So I am gonna have to have a couple of those like sit down and fill the Q-snap days. But yeah, I think we will get there. I'm gonna grab my tablet so I can give you percentages. Hold on. I have talked about my big giant pattern keeper fiasco that I had when I lost all of my progress because I was not able to export, but we are now in a better place. So I will show you, this is Mini Which Way artwork by Molly Harrison, charted by Michelle from Haid. This is what it will look like when it's finished. This is the mock-up. I have worked on this year, and I am at 9,725 stitches out of 78,325, which is 12.42%. And here's what 12.42% looks like on a mini, or on this mini. So here she is, and I will show you what she looked like at the beginning of the year. So I'm gonna move over here, show you that, and you can see the comparison. I am pretty happy with what I have done so far this year. I have put in between 2,000 and 3,000 stitches. And again, happy with the progress. All right, next is Tiki Beach Sunset from Haid, and that I have put in 3,000 stitches to this year. So let's look at that one. This is a full size, no special like super color madness stuff, just again Tiki Beach Sunset. There is a quick stitch of this that there's quite a few people doing that is just this portion right here, so you might recognize that from some others' floss tubes, but this is the whole thing is what I am working on. My tablet decided to get very dark when I showed it to you like that. So I am at 4.61% complete, and that is 16,719 stitches out of 362,408. So this will get finished sometime in I don't know when. But here's where it's at. And I, again, will put a picture of where it was at the start of the year. But I feel like it's looking really dark. It is darker in this corner, but it's not as dark as it seems to be showing on the camera right now. There you go. Likes to be further away. So a little bit I tell often about how I stitch on Haid's, and how I've been stitching on this is that I kind of pick a color and just start working out. So I'll either, right now I've been like trying to complete like along the line. So then I'll start with a color, whatever color is missing next on the top, and work my way down, or I'll pick like the next row that has like, that's not complete all the way across, pick the color, and then just work the color until either the floss is dead or it's really too far for me to feel okay counting and running a stitch, because as you will see, I don't use gridded fabric. Oh, there, it looks nice and bright. I don't use gridded fabric. Now it's darkening up. And so it really, I'm relying on myself to count. So if I don't want to mess myself up, so I just take it as long as I feel comfortable, and then that's where we go. So I love this stitch. I will pick it up again probably this year. I get in a Haid mood. I keep looking at, there's a couple of unconventional X-stitch patterns that I've really been staring at, but I feel like I need more than just the corners of those done. I don't mind having a lot of WIPs, obviously, and I don't mind having a lot of big projects, but I really want to see more of the picture in the WIPs that I do have before I start kind of getting back into that whole like, oh, I'm stitching the sky, or I only have background in this one, because that, to me, that makes it harder for me to feel motivated. Now that I'm like coming into the moon on the witch and the paper lanterns on Tiki Beach Sunset, it's like getting really exciting to like see things actually appear, and so I want to really keep going with that versus like going back to okay, I'm gonna start over again and now I'm stitching sky, or I'm stitching a big corner of black. I feel like that can be the hard part of Haids, where you just don't get the feeling of it. And I think that's why we do start some like more than one, because like, oh, this is monotonous or boring, and then you just really like want to move forward with it. Anyways, so I started those two really quick with each other. So I started Mini Which Way first, 6, 7, 20, and then I started Tiki Beach Sunset 7, 3, 20. So it was like bam, bam, and then I got another big one that I started right after that. So right after that, on 7, 4, 20, I started One Nation from Bygone Stitches. This is the flag with the states in order of their acceptance into the Union. I haven't picked this up this year. It's been a year, and so it hasn't been as motivating for me to feel the need to stitch it. Sometimes it feels really like hopeful to stitch it and feel united, but I just feel like things are not united right now, and I want them to go back to that, and hopefully they will. But this is where I'm at. I've got 3 states, 3 stars, almost a 4th state. This is on the same linen that my Consider the Lilies is on, but I dyed it with tan Rit, and it kind of turned out like a reddish brown, but I do really like it, and the white shows up nicely on it. I am stitching it with Victorian Motto flosses that she did in she did a flag pack, and so the red and the blue are from that. The white is a DMC that is like not ecru, but not like snowball white. I don't know when that's gonna come out next. I don't know if it'll get stitched on this year. It has too many feels. All right. Last one of 2020 is Pumpkin Quaker. This is by Hello from Liz Matthews. And I am stitching this with Called For Nothing. Oh, except for the gray black that's in there. That is the Called For, which I don't remember what it is. The other flosses, Steph at Keepsakes helped me pick out. I wanted like really bright, wild Halloween colors. And so this is what it's looking like so far. I stitched on this last year and got finally, like I had been dragging on that big pumpkin in the middle. So now that that's done, I feel like the next time I pick it up, there will be some more progress, but I have not picked it up yet this year. And I do love it. The fabric, I don't even remember what it is, and because I nicknamed it Murky Light, because it's like this pinkish green gray, I don't know, murky. It's like it's a pinky murky. It's not from Picture This Plus, but I think, can you get the gist of why I called it murky light? I really like it. I wish I remembered what it was. All right, and then, so I have one WIP from 2021, and it is my Cryptid Sal from the Witchy Stitcher. This is one that I would like to finish this year, so I think that the next time I get it out, I am really gonna aim for that. I have worked on it this year, so you will see a progress photo in the side, but this is where it's at. It is on Christmas Gold from Color and Cotton. It is from a Christmas box that she did when she used to do, she did, I think, like a Halloween box and a Christmas box. And this is from the Christmas box. Again, it's called Christmas Gold. And I just really love it. I stitched for my friend Tina. I had her in a swap and she likes cryptids. So I stitched her, what did I stitch her? Mothman and Bigfoot, which will go right here, and made them into little ornaments for her. And then my coworker, my office mate, who he and I sit back to back, I showed him this and he was like, oh my gosh, can you stitch one of those for me? So I might be finishing this and then starting another one right away. But yeah, it's one of those ones where it's like, it's a lot, but it's also not. I don't know. So, okay, so I'll put where I was at the beginning of the year, or the end of last year. So I do my yearly WIP parade. I try to do it on January 1st, right? Because we have the day off. So it's a good day to sit and film a WIP parade, and then I for sure like can say like this happened in this year, right? So put the picture in of where it was. All right, now that we are closing out 2021 and earlier, I am going to reorganize for a hot second and get the rest of my WIPs out so that we can, you don't have to listen to the bag zippiness thing happening. Okay. All right, we're in the home stretch. We are into 2024. Well, 2023 first, and then I only have one. 2023 was, it was just a really hard year. I didn't start a lot or do a lot. See, I don't have any starts from 2022. Like, I think that I stitched on a lot of projects that I had. I did finish a lot of things, but it just, we were just at a hard time in kid life and home life and work life, and I was transitioning to a new job, and it was a lot. So we moved past that, but there's like a big gap in projects. And 2023, I started this in March 20th, 2023. This is Emma Congdon, or what is her other name? Why can't I think of it? What her design, like her name is Emma Congdon, but then she has like a design group. And then so a lot of times when she releases something in a magazine, it's under Emma Congdon, and then when she releases it like herself, it's from her design group name. And I hate that I can't think of what it is right now. It doesn't say it on here because this is a magazine pattern. So it's Emma Congdon. It's called New Shoots. So if she has this released and you don't have it from the magazine, then it's probably called something else, perhaps Spring Bulbs or something along those lines. It has the bulbs in the order that they will bloom in the spring, which I love because we have a lot of bulb flowers in our yard, so I would like to get this on the wall at some point. This I have not worked on this year. No, but this is where it's at. This green is from a fabric of the month from, oh, I forget what her name is. It's a fabric of the month pattern, fabric from somewhere, but it's like a minty minty green. Again, in the notes, everything of like what things are, what flosses I'm using, if they're different, what fabric it is, who the dyer is, it will be down below. I don't have them all written down. I pulled all of my stuff. I just pulled out cover pages from my bags and the pattern, and so that's why I don't have all the tons of information, but yeah, it's all in there. All right. Yeah, I haven't really come across anything that I'm like, nope, definitely not again, but we'll see. All right, this is another New Year, New Start. This is 2024's 1/1/24 start. It is the sampler book from Erica Michaels. These patterns are all available for free online. When you buy this pattern, it tells you how to put the book together. It tells you like the guidelines for stitching all the pages and how to make the cover and all that stuff. So but all of the A through Z that are in there are available for free at that website, which is ericamichaels.com, the-sampler-book. I feel like if you just search Erica Michaels, the sampler book, you'll probably find it too, but it's on her website, so you can go there and find these patterns. I have completed the A is for Algerian eyelet. And I also did a tutorial on my floss tube channel, which I will link down below as well, that shows you how to do a row of Algerian eyelets without covering up all of your own holes that you make, because that is part of the beauty of the Algerian eyelet stitch, is that all of the holes are like see-through, that it makes a hole, but if you try to stitch all the way around and then go to the next one, a lot of times you'll end up covering your hole with your own strand of thread, and we don't want to do that. So again, if you're trying to do that, you're trying to make a row of Algerian eyelets and you find yourself crossing over your own hole, please check out my tutorial. I'll link it down below, but it's, again, just go to my channel and to the videos under tutorials. I want to stitch the B is for butterfly, so hopefully that will happen sometime soon. I will pick that one back up. 324 I have worked on this year. This is from Works by ABC, Arlene Cohen. And I absolutely love this pattern. It has proven to me though that I in fact do not own every color of DMC, and I need to complete my collection. But I will post where I was at the start of the year, and here's where I am now. I'm stitching from the paper pattern, so I don't know exactly what level of completion this is, but it's a square. I have a couple of little holes that need filling in, but here we go. This is a goal to finish by the end of the year piece as well. That is being stitched on 18 count Aida from like Loops and Threads, the Michaels brand. Next, I started a Stitch in Time, is what I'm calling it. It's from this Fresh from the Garden pattern from Little House Needleworks. It is this little needle book right here, and I'm stitching it on a 40 count latte, I believe, with flosses that I've pulled that kind of look like what's in the picture. I have worked on this year, so I'll put in where I was. Got a good chunk done. It was a couple days of stitching. I don't get a lot of stitching time each day, so my days of stitching can be very productive and can also take a really long time. Next is Christmas Rules from Lizzie Kate. Let's see, did I take out, oh. It's my Christmas bag. This WIP parade mess is like a whole nother kind of mess that exists in the world. I really thought, why can't I find my Christmas bag? Oh. On the very bottom. All right, Lizzie Kate, Christmas rules. It's this right here. I will be working on this month, but I have not worked on it yet. It is part of my Christmas in July plans. This is what I have completed. I am not stitching it with the called for colors, but except for this red is the called for DMC substitute. But I really need to find what I'm gonna stitch as the other colors, because the DMC equivalents are not pretty. And so I need to find something else to do. Next, I started Act of God with my friend Brandy. This is a Long Dog Samplers. I am stitching it in purple, so that is why it looks purple in my mock-up on... Yeah, that big open window is not helping anybody here. But there we go, kind of. The selling point for me on this one was this little part right here, so I bought this entire big giant chart and decided I was going to stitch it because I like big projects. This is, do I have the fabric tag on it? Nope. Okay, so it's going to be down below. I think it's, oh, it's Mirage from Picture This Plus. I started this, like I said, I think started this with Brandy from B&E Stitchery. And this is where it's at. This is 1.66% complete. It's 1,153 stitches. It's being stitched with the Silks For You silk. The number will be listed below. I don't know when that's coming out next. Next, oh, and I started that on 9/12/24, and then I guess I was in a Long Dog Samplers mood, and I started Fish and Ships, which is part of a series for her. I am stitching it with an aqua, so this is what it looks like. And I am at 40.78% with 6,710 stitches out of 16,454. I am stitching this on Frozen Fractals 40 count from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Steph. I have worked on this year. I will show you where it was at the beginning of the year here. This is where it's at now. I really enjoy how this piece looks. I'm really enjoying the silk. It is Silks For You silk. I will put the number below. All right, and then for Thanksgiving on 11/26/24, I started Turkey Bay from Plum Street. And this is on Tombstone from Color and Cotton, and this is another piece that's from one of her boxes. This is from a Halloween box. This is where I'm at. Just some of the water done. I am pulling floss from Stash for this one. A lot of Color and Cotton. The blue that is the water is Color and Cotton for sure. But and I will pick this one up seasonally as well, along with the other little pumpkins. The Black Cat I started next. This was part, I really wanted to start 24 projects in 2024. I think what did I end up at? I got close. I started 19 in 2024. This was one of the last couple that I was like chugging along on. It's Bent Creek, the Black Cat. Again, I will pick this one up seasonally. I have not worked on it yet this year. Here's where it's at. Hopefully I can just get this one kind of done and dusted. I'm gonna put it away because it's small and it has its own teeny tiny bag with its floss and I don't want to lose it. Okay, and like the mess is starting to scare me. It's so bad. They never, I'm sure, actually we all tell you. It's like, it's a lot. What parade mess is a lot of mess. Okay. Next is another Plum Street, Mary 2. My little goth Santa. This was kitted. I got it from my friend Helen. I have worked on this year as part of my Christmas and July stitching. I made it to the goal that I set for myself, which was to complete the reindeer. They are completed. And I'll put in a picture of where I was at the start of the year. But really I just had Santa and that little mistletoe done. Or winter berries. I am stitching it with the called for flosses because they came together, and then this is like that Wichelt that like stands up by itself. So that I started 12/7/24. Pretty sure I've missed some of my like, this is when I started this, but I hope you'll forgive me. I'm telling them to you in order, so it should be all good. Next, oh, this one I don't have on pattern paper. This one I'm stitching from the paper because it was gifted to me. So, oh, here's the cover photo. This is Quinto Acuto from Long Dog Samplers. And I am stitching this on Mystery Linen 38 count. And I am stitching it with floss that I dyed myself to variegate through the chart. If that makes sense. So I started this year. It was a new year. It was my new year, new start. So I worked on dyeing essentially like my own little line of ever darkening floss. So the bottom motifs will be stitched in the darkest and the top motifs will be stitched in the lightest with DMC 3799 as the background colors. So here is what that's looking like so far. So this is my darkest floss, and then it gets lighter as it goes up. And I am really loving all the negative space on that one. I don't know when I will pull that out next. It's kind of feels like a daunting one at the moment. And I have older, bigger projects that need love sooner than that one does. Next, Stacy at Bluebird of Paper and Thread and I started Keeper of the Pinsale. There were a couple other people that did this with us as well. I am failing on this one today. I started and finished mostly. I think there's some French knots and backstitch that need to be added, but this is considered a WIP still because I want to stitch all of the pieces, but this is the one that I got done. This is on a 25 count even weave that I dyed myself with coffee, and yeah, I shall continue. I am using Victorian Motto sampler, from the same thing as my flag piece. This is her New Flag Red, and then I'm using Eggnog from Color and Cotton. Those are the two that came out with the project. I don't remember what the brown was that I used, and now hopefully I can find it again. I may have just used the DMC for that. I do not know. I don't remember what bag that goes in. Good times. The end of this WIP, it's gonna be a little rough. Okay, and these are the ones I've started most recently. I feel like these I started with a lot of people, and so I am gonna leave people out, and I apologize. Hopefully I remember everybody. This is Dreaming of Klimt from Barbara Anna Designs. This we started on the anniversary of Gustav Klimt's death. I started this with Shelly, Key X Stitch, Sarah at I Swear I'm Stitching, Julie, Kansas City Girl in a Colorado World. That might be it. This is where I got to. I don't know when this is coming out again. I'm stitching it with the DMC, and yeah. Again, these are my starts from this year. So I started that one 2/6/25. So these are, I did set a goal for myself again for 25 new starts in 2025. I don't know if I will actually make it to that. I just kind of like to have it there, and it gives me an excuse to start whatever I want whenever I want to start it, I guess is what I've like made for myself. But yeah. Next, this was a unicorn for me for a long time, and then Colorado Cross Stitcher re-released it. It is Sally Spencer from Birds of a Feather. I was really happy to have this. I am stitching it on Old Salem linen from Primitive Hair. Rabbit, right? Rabbit. This is where I've gotten to. I am stitching this with colors that I am randomly pulling. The red is silk from, it's what I used for my token from Long Dog. And okay, so Old Salem linen from the Primitive Hair. The white that I'm using is a DMC that I dyed with red cabbage. It's like a very light kind of pinky. I called it Garden Pink. And then I'm using Almond M&M's Seaweed. Barn Red from Color and Cotton. Wintertide from Color and Cotton. And Wrought Iron from the Gentle Art. And then this red silk that I have left over. I absolutely love how it is coming along. I would like to pick this up again. It stitches really quickly. I think it looks lovely on this linen. And I would like to cut this linen, so I would like to finish this so I have this linen around to use more of. Yeah. Okay, this one is, this lives in my, I haven't been showing you bags, but this one I just had to go into, but this is a Wipakipa from Stephanie, the New England Stitcher. And we are gonna, like I said, I'm getting a little bit of anxiety about the mess that I have made, so we're just, this one, since I have it handy and it's not going to make any noise for you, it's just going to go back in here. And then that one is cleaned up and I feel better about life. Okay. Next I started the Extraordinary Bird Cell. I have not really picked this up since the first release of the outside. This is where I'm at. I am stitching this on, I don't know, a fabric that I can't remember. It's down below. It's 40 count with the called for DMC, and I will get back to it at some point. I finished Deadly Aquarium last year, and I had kept up through, I think, like the 4th release maybe. It was when we got to that rock that had all the backstitch on it. And then I picked up I picked it up at the end when everything was released. And I actually really enjoyed stitching it when everything was released, because then I could color complete. I had places to count off of. It made me feel better about not putting things in the wrong places. So I think that once this is fully released, I'll just download it and then I'll get going on it then. I really do love it. It's looking wonderful. I'm having fun watching everybody else that's stitching theirs, but I think this one will be on the back burner until the full pattern is out. And next I started Medicine and Poison. I started this at the Library Stitchers Retreat for 26-25. I am now stitching along with Helen D and Audrey, Stitchy Witch 42. This is what she is kind of stitching as her like motivation slash get me through this slash tribute to she's fighting cancer right now, so I am stitching this along with and in support of her. Helen D is also stitching this, and so is Stitching is Elementary, and this is on Artemis from Atomic Ranch. Stitch me. Gosh darn it, I do it every time. I'm just not even gonna say it anymore. It's called Artemis. It's like a dark purple. It's not showing correctly today. There are pictures on my floss tube or on my Instagram that do have this color like exactly right. It is a deep purple, and I absolutely love this piece. This is from the Witchy Stitcher, and Joshua from Stitching Cambria finished this, and it is the model that the Witchy Stitcher used for her, and his like finish, his photography, everything is like what she's using for her piece for her pattern sale, and it's so gorgeous. It was so inspiring, and I am so enjoying the stitch. It does at my house have to be stitched on like the exact correct lighting to make it easy to stitch on. I can stitch on it with my little neck lamp that I got without it like being a disaster, but it does take a little bit longer for me to stitch, and I've been putting like a white piece of paper in my lap and then stitching on my Lowry frame for that one. All right, very last piece that I have started so far this year, and that is in my WIP parade, is Huckleberry Farm. I did get this, I think, when it came out at market, and it's kind of been languishing in my stash and just waiting and waiting. And then Stephanie from Cross Stitch the Globe said she was going to start it at StitchCon, and so I said I'm going to use this as my motivation to get it started. So I'm stitching it on Paranormal from Bestitch Me. Okay, now that I'm saying that this is from Bestitch Me, the Artemis is Atomic Ranch for sure, and this is Bestitch Me. It's on Tombstone. I got the butterfly done, or the black of the butterfly done. I did stitch the black of the butterfly with DMC 310. I am probably going to try to pull colors from my stash for the rest of the piece, but I own a cone of 310, so okay, I'm not exactly sure where I was because my camera decided that I was finished. So I had to upload all of those clips and get them going on my computer and then erase them and come back here to talk to you some more. So it's been like a few minutes. thank you for joining me for my WIP parade today. I am hopeful, again, to touch all of my projects throughout the year this year. That is the ultimate goal, to really just get my hands on everything, make sure I'm still in love with it, start new things that I'm in love with, that I've been waiting on, that I have in my stash, that have been hanging out for a while. I have been not purchasing as many things, not because I'm like setting myself on a no buy, just because I'm trying to use what I have. That's kind of a big part of my life, is trying to use what I have. I try to do that in all aspects, not just stitching. I have accumulated a lot of things, and now it's time to stitch them and use them and be able to put them on my walls. So that's been my other goal, is getting stuff up and finished. I have finished 2 really big projects this year, fully finished, and gotten them up onto my walls. I got my Oceans ABC on my walls, and that had been languishing for so long. I got my Deadly Aquarium up on the wall after I found a perfect frame for it at the thrift store. So I am just gonna be questing for all those perfect frames and all of those perfect moments, and getting them up on the walls and enjoying the stitching that I have done and enjoying the stitching that I still have yet to do. So thank you for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed some stitching today while you were watching, and that you found a little bit of inspiration to continue with your projects. If you have started something that you saw here that you need motivation for, and that you want to like try to help each other and do check-ins on projects that you want to get done, please let me know. I am really trying hard to improve in that area of my life, and being both supportive and motivational, and using it for me and for you, and making it like a mutually beneficial situation. So message me, let me know if you want some motivation to work on something, and if you have a Instagram handle, please go ahead and message me there, because I feel like the check-ins on there are a lot easier than they are on YouTube, just because of the lack of like direct messaging that's available there. But I hope to see you all around. Thank you again for joining me for my mid-year WIP parade, and I hope you are all having the best week available to you, and I will see you next week. Bye.